Yo, what is poppin', my guys? It is your boy Ash Lee, and today we are facing off against my boy Nova in the IBA. So this is a match I'm super nervous for. Nova has basically helped me build every team I've used this season in the IBA, so he definitely knows my playstyle. I did utilize my front office, trying to maybe throw him for a loop a little bit, run some unconventional sets, which we will go over right now. Before I get started into that though, I never did this at the beginning, but if you guys could, go ahead, throw a sub on there if you've been watching the content. I get a lot of traffic from plug chats, but so I feel like there's probably some people out there. It seems that there are people out there who watch a lot of my videos but aren't subbed yet. So I definitely encourage you to hit that sub button, as well as go ahead and sub to my boy Nova. We've done a couple of collaborations in the past. We have definitely some more collaborations coming up in the future. Definitely one of my closer friends in the community, so I highly recommend that you check him out. But without further ado, let's go ahead and slide into these sets real quick. We have Electros with the Assault Vest, Giga Drain, Flamethrower, U-Turn, and HP Ice. Just as usual, just a nice little pivot mon, able to hit things like the Seismitoad, the Pinsir, the Greninja. A little bit unsure about how to handle the Golbat, because HP Ice doesn't really do a whole lot to an EV like Golbat, but Flamethrower does a good little chunk to our Fortress and our Clefable, and U-Turn allows us just to switch out and get the momentum into something else anyway. So we also have Hardens, our Mega Aerodactyl. This boy has Ice Fang, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, and Rock Slide, with enough speed to outspeed everything on his team that is not Scarf. So definitely just a nice overall just damage dealing set, with the Stealth Rocks obviously, because we could not fit them onto the Gliscor set. We have Shaman with Leftovers, as well as Leech Seed, Earth Power, Healing Wish, and Protect. Just a nice little stall out set, as well as a way to get my health up on some of my other mons late game, like the Aerodactyl, like the Infernape, like my Hoopa. Just a nice little set. We also have Discord Orb, the Gliscor. This boy has Toxic Orb with Roosh, Earthquake, Defog, and Taunt. Taunt because we will be able to outspeed the Fortress, the Clefable, and the Seismitoad, get a taunt up on it, and stop it from setting up or getting up rocks or anything like that. So really like Taunt on Gliscor. Second to finally, we have Bape the Infernape with the E-Belt, Iron Fist, Gunk Shot, Flare Blitz, Close Combat, and the Mach Punch. So this is just a nice little set. I wanted to try and bluff Scarf for as long as possible with this, because Scarf doesn't do well against his team, but he knows that I like Scarf Ape, so I felt like if I bluffed it right, I could catch his Clefable or Greninja on an expected Fire-type attack. As long as I can get rid of this Seismitoad, I think a non-scarfed Infernape can put in a good bit of work. I mean, the Pinsir is definitely a problem, but we have our checks to that in Electros and and Gliscor. So finally we have Hoopa Unbound. Now this is our choice Scarf mon. I liked it for late game cleaning. If we played the chip game well, then it can just spam Hyperspace Fury, which I do have, along with Zen Headbutt, Gunk Shot, and Drain Punch, to basically blast through this whole team, and there nothing else can really do a whole lot to it in return. So again, not just different prep. I didn't prep how I would normally prep, just because I know that Nova knows me so well. I probably could have prepped a little bit more straightforward and felt a little bit more comfortable, but I wouldn't consider myself uncomfortable with this team. I would just consider myself inexperienced with this sort of build. I've been relying on Speed Pass a lot, or at the very least relying on Scolipede a lot. It is kind of it's so weird to say with Hoopa, but I would like to think that Scolipede is the focal point of all the teams that I've made so far, whether that be in an attacking capacity or a speed passing one. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead, fire off into the battle. He is going to lead off Slippy Toad with the Seismitoad, as I'm going to lead off my Gliscor. So I don't want to risk going for the taunt here in case he just wants to Scald, which you can see he actually goes for the knockoff. So it sucks to get the leftovers off of my Shaman, but I'm really glad I didn't stay in and lose that Toxic Orb, because that would have been really bad. I'm able to fire off a Leech Seed onto the incoming Golbat switch, which is good because this thing does have reliable recovery, but anything that puts this thing on a timer is fantastic. And as you know, since it is a poison type, it cannot be poisoned. So here he's going to go ahead and throw up his Stealth Rocks. So we're going to fire off a fat Giga Drain. Now unfortunately he is packing the Rendo Berry, which is just good prep. I do have a Shaman, and Infernape gets things like Grass Knot, so I'm going to fire off the U-Turn this time. I did not bring Volt Switch because the Seismitoad is such an easy switch into me. Even though I do have Giga Drain, it's hard to predict. Here I'm going to scare him out with the Infernape. which is super nice. I am going to gunk shot here and go ahead and switch out. I know I don't take this thing out with anything that I have currently, and the Shaman is just a very, very safe switch in unless he doubles into Golbat, which was a nice play on his part. So he is going to try and Super Fang on my Protect, just to try and scout what he wants to go for. I know that a Super Fang isn't really that big of a deal. I'm just going to fire off the Leech Seed, get a little bit of that health back, and be able to switch into another one of my Pokemon. So yeah, he might get the Super Fang off, but I can get that Leech Seed recovery, which is going to help a lot. He actually roost here, I guess expecting me to go for some sort of attack, but instead, I am just going to double right out into my Gliscor, thinking that he is going to double into his Seismitoad. So that was pretty nice plays right there. I think I'm going to go ahead and defog. No, sorry, I just go ahead and switch right back into the Shaman. It's a no drawback play. I can always fire off the Leech Seed, and I can take that Scald very well. As you can see, it only does 8%. And I can just go ahead and fire off the Leech Seed as he goes right into the Pinsir. So this is definitely a bit of a problem. He does have the rocks up, but hopefully I can outplay him. He is going to actually go into his Golbat, I'm going to pop right here into my Electros. I figured that was a pretty safe double, and if he decided to stay in, I could tank almost everything he wanted to and get a little bit of that Leech Seed recovery back. Here I'm just going to U-turn because I'm not really packing anything that's going to be able to smack this Golbat super effectively, or at least not be able to outbeat its roost. So I'm going to go right here into Harden and fire off the Rock Slide. So he switches into Fortress, letting me bounce back out into my Discord Orb. Now this is really nice because he's going to fire off the Gyro Ball. That's going to do pretty much nothing, especially after the Poison Heal damage. And I'm going to be able to get off a really nice defog here. So I'm going to defog. I've switched out every single time on this Seismitoad. I know he's not going for Scald. I have the ability to fire off a really, really nice taunt and shut him down almost completely. At least to get his hazards up. This is going to allow me a very free switch into Shaman or Electros or anything like that. As you'll see, I decide to go Electros, and he is going to go for the Scald, which does 17%. He does unfortunately get the burn, which really sucks, seeing as I am I don't think I have physical moves, so they're just going to be doing a lot less damage. He does unfortunately knock off my Assault Vest, but I am able to get back a good majority of health and knock out the Seismitoad, which was a huge wall to my Infernape. So now his only resist to Infernape is going to be Greninja, and that thing is pretty frail. So as long as we can play the chip game right and hope he doesn't have or we can use Mach Punch, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. So here, I make a huge misplay. I forgot that Magic Guard prevents against Leech Seed. So here I Leech Seed, and I was frantically doing calcs and stuff like that because this Calm Mind Fable was really scaring me, and did not notice that I actually did not regain any health back from the Leech Seed. So not only do I make the bad play of Leech Seeding the Mon that the Leech Seed doesn't affect, but I end up protecting the next turn. I could have at the very least Healing Wish something up. I don't have anything that's too terribly low on health, but it would have been a nice very free switch into this Infernape or the Hoopa. So as you can see there, he's going to fire off the Moonblast and absolutely wreck my Infernape, which is very unfortunate for something you'll see later. I'm going to go ahead and taunt here, which is not really super useful, seeing as he is just going to decimate me with a Moonblast. I definitely should have just gotten some damage off with Earthquake. As you'll see, that's what I choose to do this time, and it's going to chip him down ever so slightly. So really not happy with myself, but I do have Scarfoopa. As long as I can hit this gunk shot, I know I can take it out from this range because I am physical, and you'll see that he actually has the Kebia Berry. So if I had just sacked something off and let my Infernape pop that Kebia Berry, I would have been able to knock that out and keep my Hoopa alive, but unfortunately, because of the good prep, I am unable to do so. Now, I know for a fact that this Aerodactyl can knock this out as long as it connects on the Rock Slide, which it does. So probably should have just gone into that and in the first place. I did need the damage from the Gliscor, and I like the taunt so that if he is packing something like Soft Boiled. But here I cannot take a Gyro Ball, so I decided to switch out into my Shaman, which as you can see, he Volt Switches. So here I am going to Leech Seed, just hoping that he does not kill me, which obviously he does. I was hoping he would try and set up the Swords Dance and I could Leech Seed stall a little bit, switch around into some Mons, but obviously that wasn't the case. I'm going to go right out here to Electros, threatening with the Flamethrower, as he is going to go right into the Golbat. So he tanks that really well. basically showing me that I have to use Aerodactyl to take out this Golbat. And I know that he's faster, so here I'm going to go ahead and U-turn as he pops off the roost. So it's going to put him at like 98%. And I'm going to go right back into my Aerodactyl and hit Rock Slide. So that does a ton of damage, but we don't get the flinch, and he gets the Super Fang off, which definitely puts us in range of a lot of his attacks. So here we are going to go ahead and hit the Rock Slide again, and we are going to miss, which definitely sucks. Not game changing at all, but definitely sucks. There is the possibility that I could have taken out this, I could take out this Fortress later in the game, but now it just adds another extra turn onto that chip game basically that I'm playing with the Fortress. As you can see, we're in a little loop here where he roosts with the Golbat. I U-turn into the Aerodactyl, I fire off a Rock Slide, I bounce back into the Electros on the Fortress, and if I can just get rid of one of these Pokemon, I am going to be in a much better situation. So here I have to switch. I know he's going for the Volt Switch, and I'm pretty sure it could kill me from this range. And even if it can't kill me, it puts me into range of his priority in the back, be it Quick Attack from Pinsir or Water Shuriken from Gren. So here I am I'm actually pretty much fully physically defensive with that Assault Vest. I'm going to tank that return very well and fire off a Flamethrower. Unfortunately, it doesn't kill because I don't have that attack investment that you might need, but it does allow me to go straight into Aerodactyl and threaten with the Rock Slide. So again, one last time, I'm going to go for the Rock Slide. It is going to finally connect with the Fortress, and as you can see, if we hadn't got that Rock Slide earlier, I would be able to knock out the Fortress on this turn, but now we have to rely on a flinch, which unfortunately we don't get. He is going to get the Volt Switch, bounce on out of there, go right into Granite, hit Water Shuriken, and win the game. So super unfortunate with the Magic Guard play. I think this game would have been a lot closer had we not fired off the Leech Seed into the Pokemon that it did not make sense. Obviously, I definitely could have won if I'd gotten the hacks in my favor. It's bullshit, I swear. If he'd have been using Rock Slide on me, he probably would have flinched me like 8 times. It's just bullshit. I never get hacks in my favor. But you know what? I'm obviously kidding. It would have been nice to get those Rock Slide flinches, but it still comes down to a matter of Greninjas coming in and pressing Water Shuriken. That battle did not need to be 43 turns. He just played it very nice and safe, as he could afford to do with the 4-mon advantage and the ability to switch with Volt Switch on Fortress. Once Gliscor was gone, I didn't really have a resist to that, and unfortunately couldn't deal the kind of damage that I wanted to. So great game to Nova. Obviously I'm super excited to see his side of the battle. As I said, we are very good friends, and I will see you guys next week, or I guess I'll see you tomorrow for our IBL game. Our MPL game will be up sometime in the middle of the week, and we will be back again with more IBA action next Saturday against the OPJellicent, which is another game I'm super scared of since he has webs. So I will see you guys next time, and peace.